Squire, attend me.
Ready, sir.
Hey, give me that!
For hell's free! Oblivion! Get in there and fight, maggot! Leroy Jenkins!
Yeah, hello. It is Thursday, May 5th, 2016, and you are listening to episode 65 of The Unstable Portal. I'm Max Totally Futile Burzin, and I'm joined by Martin Dustus Waters and Joe Conan Marsh. Hello. And how are we this evening?
Very good. Very happy, chirpy.
Happy and chirpy? Oh no. How about you,
The
Joe?
joys of spring.
Tired, my eyes hurt.
I had the window open all day today. That's how hot it was.
It's going to be 25 degrees this weekend.
Oh yeah,
I've been complaining that it's too hot.
there was a heat wave coming.
I can't deal with that. I hate that.
I'm going to be sat inside recording Overwatch all weekend, so I'll be enjoying the sunshine.
I don't mind like the heat during the day. I just I like it to be cold at night when I go to bed. That's when I sleep the best.
Yeah,
When
I'm the
it's
same.
warm and you're like, ugh,
Like
half duvet.
you wake up and you're all sweaty. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely?
This is the worst introduction to a Hearthstone podcast ever. What is the weather going to be in a very specific region in the world, and how does Joe sleep during this time period?
Wait, do you wear pajamas, Joe, or are you just a completely in the knackers kind of guy?
Yeah, I wear pajamas.
Okay.
You wear pajamas? I just wear my boxers and a t-shirt, and if it gets really saucy, I take the t-shirt off.
Oh,
Yeah, I used to just wear a t-shirt and boxers, but I actually found I actually get hotter.
Well, I get
Without
hotter when I take
pajamas
my
on,
clothes off because
some
like, steaming body.
maybe your problem is that you're all wearing far too many clothes. Just wear nothing. It's freeing. It's nice. It's relaxing. I keep seeing all these articles on the internet telling me that you should be sleeping naked and that it's good for you. Apparently,
You live in Newcastle, like it's cold all year. It's fine.
Wait, how's it good for you?
I don't know. I haven't actually read any of these articles. They just look like
oh my God.
clickbait.
Do you remember last week when we said we should have some kind of structure? It probably should be Hearthstone related.
We have plenty of structure. It's fine. We just haven't got to that bit yet. All right. Point taken. Okay, so the structure for tonight's show, ladies
Hold
and
on,
gentlemen.
wait a minute. Why because you should have gone straight into the review, because that would have linked perfectly.
Do you know what the lack of structure is? Is you interrupting my structure every single time I try to present structure.
I did not bring up the weather, or might have done. I can't remember.
Joe brought up the weather, but it's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. Right, so we do have structure, and I figured part of that structure should be at the top of the show, giving everybody a brief contents of what they should expect before you so rudely interrupted telling me I was doing it wrong. If you just calm down for a moment, I'll get into it. So tonight, we are going to start off with a little bit of unstructured nonsense, as we always like to do. That's what the start of the show is always going to be, so all of you haters out there better just get used to it. Then after that, we're going to get into a little bit of Hearthstone news. There isn't very much of it, I'm going to tell you that now, but we've managed to scrape some news together. We will then very briefly mention the brawl, because it is a repeat brawl again, and we might talk about that for a few minutes.
It's web spinner.
Thanks, Martin. And then we got a bit of show and tell for you this evening, because we've all brought a deck that we're going to show you and tell you all about.
You know what? You just lost everyone when you told them what the real thing was, because they were like, Tell's on the show again, cool.
Tell? Why do they think?
It's not that Tell, it's just telling stuff.
Show and tell. It hurts. It hurts me deep inside. Well, Tell, I hope you appreciated that one, because it cut me. Martin, stop moving the pictures around. My God, sit still. Anyway, so continuing with the structureless nonsense at the beginning, we've had a new review this week, right from our very own United Kingdoms. It is from Emmy18482. I don't know if those numbers are relevant, but I'm going to say them anyway. And he just simply says, like all the podcasts, this is better.
No, like that. Ruin it. Like all the best podcasts.
Okay, like all the best
all
podcasts.
The podcasts. That's
all the
the rubbish ones.
This is very true. I
Changes
apologise.
the whole meaning.
I
You make it from a
apologize.
positive to a negative review in one word.
Imi, I apologize for butchering your review, but like what they say is, like all the best podcasts, this is better than the subject material. So that is basically saying we're better than Hearthstone.
Yeah, I know, and I thought about this when I read that. I thought, so we're better than Hearthstone. Like, I don't check the numbers, but I think they're at something like 20 million. So I'm guessing we're getting about 20 million downloads every week. So what I was thinking is, why are we bothering Patreon? Why don't we just go straight to like getting a bit of advertising going on?
Yeah, get some sponsors in.
Yeah, get the old book people, audiobooks, get them down.
That's it.
Everyone has a bit of the old audiobooks. They've got lots of people. That's what we need. What are they called? I can't remember.
Audible, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Audible. Give them a
all
call. We got 200 million downloads, listeners, whatever.
All the yeah, that is true. All the big podcasts do shill for Amazon. So we could start doing that. I'll tell you what, Martin. You contact Amazon and tell them that we've got 20 million podcast
Tell them it's official.
downloads.
We're bigger than Hearthstone.
And that Hearthstone's got 20 million.
All right.
They can infer themselves.
People have said worse things, like, John Lennon. It's fine. It's fine. It won't be a problem. Anyway, and they'll just say that we've got a review to prove it, and they'll just give us loads of money. And
To go, listen, IMI18482 is a reliable source. I don't want you saying anything bad about him.
yeah, he's definitely on my Christmas card list, especially with a review like that.
Yes. Actually, yeah, very nice review. Thank you very much.
Right, we have also had a couple of emails this week. We're not going to be able to get through all of them, I'm afraid, because we have quite a packed show. But there was one interesting question that came through to us from Lucas. He said, have you played a Renounce Darkness deck? It's not very good, but if you don't care about your win rate, it's pretty fun. You basically...
this sounds like me.
Yeah.
Off my care at the minute, so not me.
This
This is me next month.
No, this is you in 3 weeks' time, not next month. In 3 weeks' time where you're going, I'm not going to make it to Legend.
Oh, you don't know where I'm at. You don't know how close I am.
I know. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so back to Lucas's question. It says, a Renounce Darkness deck is not very good, but it is pretty fun. You basically make a zoo deck with only Warlock cards and throw in 2 Renounce Darkness and pray to RNGesus. He also says, keep
we
up the
should
great
probably
work.
explain what Renounce Darkness is, because I had to look it up when I read this email, because I'd forgotten.
That's fine. We could have explained what Renounce Darkness was, but I hadn't finished reading the email. Anyway, so Renounce Darkness is the 2-mana card that will replace all of your class cards with another class's cards and reduce their cost by 1. Pretty cool card, pretty funky. I haven't played with it at all.
Oh my god. There's a YouTube video from Kibler about it. It's happening.
I didn't realise this segued so beautifully into...
Kibler of the week!
Anyway, have either of you two actually played with a Renounce Darkness deck?
Yeah, I played a good few games with it.
Really? Okay, cool. I haven't.
Really?
Really?
Joe plays a lot of Hearthstone. I'm not surprised.
I
Come
know.
on, Joe.
I don't like. I've been too busy playing Overwatch as well, and yeah.
It's terrible.
Really?
High praise.
I don't know. I was like, oh, it could be okay, maybe. You're getting a discount on everything. And then it's like, well, you're getting a discount also on the 70% of the shit cards that you're getting from that class, so it really doesn't matter that they're discounted. They're still bad.
Is there enough bad cards to make it bad? I mean, Lucas does say in his email that it's not very good, but it is a lot of fun. I mean, because I remember when we spoke about this card, when we reviewed it, and we were kind of like, maybe, I think like, we did justify it saying like, mostly class cards are good. There's very few bad class cards. But maybe
there is a lot of bad class cards.
But there is, okay.
I think the thing is that there's a lot of class cards are overstated and undercosted. The good ones, but there's still a lot of bad cards as well. I mean, like the equivalent 3/4 as a class card would have some really awesome ability on it. It doesn't really make up for the junk cards. I mean, it is definitely fun.
Also, you kind of need to keep your hand full to then make use of this.
No, it replaces
also,
every card in your hand and your deck, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, but it's the fact that it reduces all of its mana by 1. You will quite often probably dump a lot of your hand. If you've only got 4 cards out in your hand and they're reduced by 4 mana between them all anyway, you might be able to dump them all on turn 1, and without the Warlock hero power, you're not drawing any new ones.
Yeah, and there's the other issue of
Oh, I didn't say
You're
it replaces your hero
an
power as well.
inferior deck to begin with, and you might not even draw Renounce Darkness until near the end of the game when it's too late as well. That was the other big problem.
But that
I
was
think
always...
if you could always guarantee that it was in your starting hand, then like half the time you probably would end up with like maybe one of the better classes. I mean, like it would end up as a kind of 50-50 deck. But the problem is it's like 50-50 when you do draw it, and also the fact that you don't necessarily draw it till late. Just kind of combines to make it.
I mean, it's never going to be consistent because at the end of the day, you're going, turn all my cards into anything. Like, not anything, but like, complete random. A non-cohesive load of cards that are slightly cheaper. But like I say, it only works in being slightly cheaper if you have enough cards in hand to play them all out quickly and get the value of having them for cheap.
I'm curious if it's good in Arena, actually.
2 cards in hand, and they both turn into like 1 or 2 mana cards, and it's like, well, I could play 1 card a hand at this point anyway.
You think it's good in Arena?
It's an interesting...
Probably, actually. It could be. It depends how many class cards you
idea.
get. It's only useful if you've got a load of class cards. And the thing is, if you've already got a load of class cards, you probably already picked one of the classes which have the strong class cards, which is how you do it, like Mage or like Paladin, etc. So you probably don't actually want to change them to random ones because you've chosen the good class cards, like Fireball, like Flame Strike, and then you suddenly get something rubbish and you go, wish I'd kept that Flame Strike, actually.
Well, it's only a Warlock card.
Okay.
And I guess you wouldn't be picking as many Warlock class cards.
Yeah. Well, then it probably is, because then you get your Flame Strikes and Fireballs, you're right.
Well, yeah. I just did a quick YouTube search to see if I could find a Kriparian video saying how good is Renounce Darkness, and it's not there yet. So I'm afraid until his video is out, we're just never going to know. Because it might turn out that it's pretty good, but we'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. All right. So apart from the decks that you want to talk about a little bit later, is there any other good Hearthstone that you've been playing this week?
I'll have to look through my collection. I mean, I played a bit of kind of everything, I guess. I played, the kind of mid-range Shaman that Zixo was playing. Kind of aggro mid-range. That's a really broken deck.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that. Are a lot of people playing that? Because I've been seeing, obviously, a lot of Shaman out there.
People were playing it anyway. I tried Patron as well.
No, does that work?
Yeah.
It didn't.
It's meant to be really strong, but I didn't do very well with it for some reason.
Oh, okay. It got that new 3/3 minion in it that's got a battle cry, deal 1 damage to everything.
Yeah, and the taunt guy in it's quite strong as well. It's like a 2/5 or 2/6 or something for 4, but gains +3 in rage. So it turns into a 5/5 when it takes 1 damage. Yeah, so it's a 2/6. But if you ping it, then it turns into a 5/5. Oh, that's pretty strong.
Okay. Well,
I guess it's really good against aggro. Like Zoo and Shaman kind of took over the ladder for a day or two. It was probably really good then.
What I want to know is, have you played the deck that was made for Joe?
Deck made for Joe? What?
Is the Hunter deck that has... Just bear with me. I think looking at it, about 2 minions in it. The Yogg and Load Hunter deck.
Oh, yeah. I meant to play that.
Yogg.
I haven't seen that deck, but I meant to play something like that.
Yeah, it's got Yogg Saron, and it's got King's Elk for getting a draw. Because if you play the King's Elk, you're going to draw your Yogg. Because the only other card in your deck is Yogg.
Well, any other minion.
Good idea.
The only other minion, is Yogg.
Is it good? Did you try it?
I played a few games. I didn't play a lot of games with it. It's fun. I'm not saying it's like the most... but I mean, like, the fact that you've got 2 shots to get in Yogg obviously makes it very useful. And it's not like you have no minions. The whole thing with it is it's not... You have 2 bear traps, so that's 2 minions. And you have your 2 animal companions, that's 2 more minions. And you have 2 Call of the Wild, so that's 6 more minions. You're making minions via... other things, and Lock and Load can obviously bring you. And you've got Arcane Shots and Hunter's Mark and On the Hunt and Tracking. They're all 1 mana spells. So you can quite often get a lot of cards coming out through them. You've got things like Explorer's Hat to buff the stuff up, and you've got all the of explosive stuff, snipes, power shot, explosive shot, deadly shot. I mean, there's a lot of actually reasonable removal, fairly good removal in Hunter. It's just you never normally need it because you're kind of going face a bit more, or you're relying on strong minions kind of thing, or you're freezing traps, tempo plays. But they have a lot of actual pretty strong removal. I played a few games. I didn't play a lot, but I played a few because Hunter's not my thing. But I saw this and I thought I have to give it a go because I have to tell Joe about it in case he hasn't. It's good fun. I'll definitely play it. It's good fun.
Not
and then
competitive.
if you get Yogg to go off, and then you're doing it.
I hear a lot of good fun, but not like how good the deck is.
Well, it's a Yogg deck, and I think, like, although we were saying, like, last week we were kind of like in this place we were thinking, oh, there's good percentages with Yogg and whatever, but I think the community's now coming to the conclusion that Yogg's a little bit too inconsistent. What? I mean, we may get into a little bit more detail on that later on, because the deck that Joe wants to talk about is a Yogg deck. But
it's a hybrid Yogg deck.
Yeah.
It's a double god deck. He couldn't just take one god, he had to take two.
I still think Yogg is very good. I don't know. I've been reading a lot about it. I think people agree it's not as amazing as maybe some people thought it was, but it's definitely still really, really strong comeback mechanic.
No, I mean, fair enough. I mean, my opinion is based on watching streamers or YouTubers mostly, actually, just sort of like watching some YouTube videos of people playing, and yeah, there's just so like the opinions of people like Strife Crow and stuff like that. They were thinking that they thought Yogg was a bit too inconsistent after playing with it for a little while, but I haven't been reading anything. I haven't been reading anything on competitive Hearthstone, not since I net decked the deck that I would like to talk about later.
I mean, I played some Yogg because what I've done this week, I've had about 4 decks. I had Cthulhu Druid, Aggro Shaman, Tempo Yogg Mage, and new Zoo deck. Well, that's sort of the main 4 decks I was playing, and I was playing them as I will play until I lose a game, and I'm going to rotate to the next one. I know that it's like you should keep playing the same one, but there's so many things that I wanted to play, and it's like, okay, I'll just keep playing until I lose, and then move around and keep going like that, and it kept it fresh. And I found the Yogg Tempo Mage like one of the weaker ones. I'm not saying that's probably the best place necessarily to put Yogg. I wanted to try, I think this was the one you were playing before, maybe, Joe. I think I took it possibly off of you. Yeah,
I was playing a Yogg Mage a bit as well.
I want to try the Rogue one as well. I just haven't had time. There's so many decks I've been trying to play.
I had a good win rate with the Mage.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I don't think I played it enough. Like with the whole rotation thing, you never play it enough to actually really.
The problem as well with Yogg is there's this huge, like, as soon as you have Yogg, you want to play Yogg. And I think that's a big problem people have, is they're just like, oh, I just want to see what happens, let's play Yogg. Whereas you really need to play him in a very specific board state to not throw the game with him.
That is true. Like, you never want to play him onto an empty board. That's a bad thing to do, isn't it? Is that right?
I tell you what, in a grindy game, Catalyst Tome is a card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The 5 mana mage card, add 3 random mage spells to your hand. Like in a grindy game, oh, that's a beast of a card.
Yeah. Because I experimented with that card. I think that must have been the same deck I was playing then, because it has one tome in it. And then I experimented with Thistle Tea and Rogue, but unfortunately Thistle Tea isn't quite as amazing as Fabulous Tome.
Thistle Tea's alright when Yogg casts it. But yeah, it's nowhere near as good as Cabalist Tome. Cabalist Tome is an amazing card. I haven't actually played with it myself yet, but yeah, it's kind of like Grinder Mage, like lost duplicate but got Cabalist's Tome kind of thing. It's like so much value, just absolutely insane. And like, do you guys feel like the meta has slowed down as much as everyone was expecting it to? Or is aggro running rampant? Like, what do you guys think?
There's no... Apart from Shaman, there isn't really any super aggro. I guess like Divine Shield Paladin or something.
I think there's some faster tempo-y kind of decks.
Yeah.
Not like pure aggro, but like some fairly speedy tempo decks that if they get ahead, you can have a lot of trouble catching up with them.
I mean, there's still Tempo Mage, and there's still like Hunter is still kind of mid-rangey.
And like you said, Shaman got their 7/7 for 4 mana, so they weren't.
God, don't talk to me about that card. It's so broken.
Card, that card.
I'm sure everybody listening is probably the same, just like,
I
why,
mean, I
Blizzard?
love that card.
Why?
It's like, what's better than playing the 7/7 for 4 mana? Playing another one next turn. It was turn 5. That's why I could do it.
Yeah,
The
I was
other
gonna say,
really
you
broken
couldn't-
cards, which I don't know how we reviewed it or what we said when we reviewed it, but it's the one that for Shaman that costs 1 less for each totem you played. And it's amazing how quickly that goes down to practically no mana.
Well, you're the one that said it at the time, Joe. You were just like, I'm pretty sure this will be really, really cheap really quickly. I'm fairly
Oh my
certain you
God.
said something along those lines when we reviewed it. So well
But
done.
it's
Well done.
definitely broken.
What's
Like
Shaman?
that-
Sorry,
that
go on,
kind
go
of-
on.
The thing from below, the 6 mana 5/5. The thing is, like we were saying, you only need it to go down 1, and then it's a 5 mana 5/5, which is fine. It's got taunt as well, and everything else is just
And also,
amazing.
it doesn't need to be in your hand. It's every time you summon a totem, right? It reduces the cost of it.
When you did it in the game, it's like whatever that mechanic is where you hero power almost. It's similar to that. Apart from obviously there are other ways to get totems.
Oh, you mean
Like you put down
the,
a flame tongue totem, or you do that 3 mana guy that
Totem
summons a
golem.
totem, and then you use your totem hero power 1 turn. Like that's a normal kind of play for 3 or 4 turns, and then suddenly he comes along and he costs like 3 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
my
use the
God.
guy that you use the guy that evolves him, and he gets evolved up to a 7 mana card as well. Like it's crazy. The combos are insane. I mean, like Martin, you were super into Evolve Shaman. Did you play a lot more of it?
I only played the aggro variety. I haven't actually there's a good mid-range deck, which is kind of what this is. I haven't had a chance. There's so many decks. I've been playing 4 decks. How many more do you want me to play?
I'm not
deck per
saying,
game.
I'm not complaining. I'm just
I
saying.
didn't want double Shaman decks, and I thought I would try the aggro one to kind of keep the variety on what I'm playing.
Well, I did hear an interesting point today. I think it was a Trump video. I was watching Trump while I was having some lunch today, and he was building a Shaman deck in whatever video it was. I can't remember, but his chat wanted him to put Evolve in the deck, and he told him he didn't have room for it. He thought every other Shaman card or every other card that was in the deck was better. I think he didn't have any neutral cards in there either. So that's how good Shaman is now. You don't need to put neutral cards in your deck. But what do you think about, like, he thought Evolve was a win more card and not necessarily required.
Oh, I think Evolve's not good. I think the minion,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but the guy that casts Evolved on one other minion, I think he's decent, but I don't like the 1 mana
Master of
Evolve
Evolution.
card. Master of Evolution, that's the one. I think he's decent.
Well, he's decent because he's already a 4 mana 4/5, so he's already like reasonably respectable on his own. Like what he does is just even better.
And I think it's almost stronger being able to just pick the one minion that you've, traded and has lost some health and you want to evolve him to get his health back and bump him up, as opposed to evolving a bunch of minions that are already strong and might actually end up not
Half
as
the
good.
time you can't play it because you don't really want to evolve.
Yeah.
You don't want to evolve your flame wreathed faceless. The other 4 mana 7/7, we'll just call him. We don't want to evolve him because it's like, well, I don't think there's anything that's going to be better at 5 mana.
Yeah, that's very true. So so you think people are not really using Evolve so much anymore, but definitely using the Master of Evolution.
Yeah, from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, it is some really cool cards for sure. All right, let's get ourselves into some Hearthstone news. Although I have managed to minimise the wrong window, so I've lost my place. There we go. Maybe I should find some other way of talking as opposed to talking about the mistakes that I make as we're making the show. That might be a little bit more professional, maybe.
You're definitely right, Max. It's all my fault when it goes wrong. It's definitely all my fault.
It is always your fault. It's you.
That was my fault. I minimised the wrong window in your screen. Sorry about that.
Yeah, why did you? How did you do that? That's what I want to know. It's magic, I tell you. All right, so the first bit of news that we've got, like I said, we're kind of scraping the barrel with calling it news here, but we have got the top 10 the top 10 Wrath of the Lich King.
You're so bad at this.
It's all going wrong now.
Just say random words.
We have got the top 10 random words cards as judged by Ness, Jackie Chan, Falcon Punch, and Nick Clay. Oh, I can't say anything. There will be a link on our show notes. Martin, you're the one that wanted to have a little bit of a talk about this, so why don't you give us...
I just had a read through this, and I thought it is quite cool. It's quite interesting to look at. I like how looking at how other people, especially since two of them came on the show, I was like, I'll definitely have a look at this and see what they felt after it kind of been fleshed out for a week or so. I mean, I don't know if you two have looked. What do you think is number one if you haven't looked?
Oh, the number one card?
Yeah.
Yogg.
I'll give you a clue. We've talked about it.
Enzoth, probably.
It's either Enzoth or Yogg, I would have thought, but yeah.
No, they've gone for either. They've gone for the Flame Wreath Faceless, the 4-mana 7/7.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Went, that card's fucking crazy.
I thought it was like cards like that you should craft first kind of thing.
No, I suppose it kind of it. I mean, they're just talking about what they think. The Enzoth comes in at number 3.
It's just top 10 cards, sorry. Yeah,
they're top 10 cards. So number 1 was the Faceless. Number 2 was the Twin Emperors. Number 3 was Enzoth. Number 4 was Dark Arakoa, the Druid one, the 6 mana 5/7 with Taunt that gives you a Season 3/3. He is a pretty good card, actually.
He is ridiculously good. I mean, he's
Darkshire Councilman. We'll talk about him later. He's pretty good.
Well, we're going to talk about that other card a little bit later as well, because he is the big reason that Cthulhu Druid is the go-to Cthulhu deck, like, or at least the most popular one that we're seeing out there. I reckon that Dark Arakoa is so strong. Yeah,
you've got such a good roadblock, and it like the 3/3 for Cthulhu is a massive buff for him as well. It's like. That 6 mana 5/7 Taunt is good for like shutting down a lot of the mid-rangey kind of decks. Because you've already probably got a fairly good amount of tempo, because you're going to have the other card whose name I can't remember, where you get the extra 5 health if your Cthulhu's already...
Yeah, he's the other big reason. The Claxi Amber Weaver.
Yeah, that's the one. And like, because you got this, was he a 4/10 he'll be then? Like sitting there on the board, like just clearing up all the minions.
I hate that guy.
The only way you kind of lose is if they have too many small minions and they kind of swarm you, and then you just go, I've got 5/7 Taunt, and then all the little minions die into it. It's and it just buffs up the Cthulhu like so well as well. The +3/+3 is like very relevant.
It's probably the strongest Cthulhu deck, is it?
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We'll go into a little bit more detail about it later. But yes, the other...
I think this guy is worth reading about. They talk about the Eternal Sentinel as well. He's number 8, the 2 mana 3/2 that unlocks all your overflow crystals.
Oh, that card is ridiculous.
Really good as well.
That card is ridiculous. It's like Shaman got so many good cards. That card is absolutely outrageous.
Oh my god! And I thought, just read this article. Max will link it. Just read this article purely for looking at the Eternal Sentinel gold card. Is awesome.
Fair enough. Yeah, the link will be in our show notes, which are, as always, on cynicalnerds.com/unstable portal. And I will, of course, mention that again at the end of the show, just in case you somehow forget. All right, we're going to move on to our next news segment. This is just a little tidbit. I think the guys at Blizzard were getting a lot of questions about new players playing Wild. They said, we received some questions from our newest players about how to access standard format. Since as a new player, you're unlikely to own any Wild cards, you'll be automatically assigned standard format. When you head over to play mode, you'll be facing off against other standard decks when you queue up. After both formats are unblocked, a button will appear in the upper right of the deck, I'm reading this terribly. After both formats are unlocked, a button will appear on the upper right of the deck selection screen when you press enter play mode. Sorry, when you enter play mode. What is wrong with me? I'm just inserting words all over the place. Anyway, when an octopus-like Kraken symbol is showing there, you're in standard. When a thorned infinity symbol symbolizes Wild, just press the button to switch between the formats. So anyone that's been playing obviously knows this, but obviously newer players were a little bit confused. But Wild is actually locked for new players until they actually craft a Wild-only card. That's why I thought this was a little bit interesting. So a new player can't play Wild until they've actually spent some dust on a GVG card or a Naxxramas card.
To be fair, like you can get a common for like next to nothing. You can do this whenever you want.
Yeah, you can craft a common for, what is it, 40 dust? Is that right? Is that what they cost to craft?
That's a pack.
Which is fine, like you say. It's not a problem. But why do you think they put it behind this wall? Just to save confusion, I guess.
Yeah, because they want to have people like looking at standard and playing standard who come into new. Because the whole point of it is that, like when I started playing Magic, you go in and you play standard, or you go and play the current set because that's what's new and that's what's relevant and that's what everyone's talking about. If you like go, oh yeah, go like you think about it in a year's time, and you go, oh, Nax is going to be so far in the past, no one will even remember the cards from Nax. People going lower who? I don't even remember that guy. And then, but if you're playing Wild, then you might still be using lower third. You might still be using Haunted Creeper, but you don't want to dip your toes into this massive world. Where there's a lot of very elite cards and you have to have very specific ones that you can't use for the rest of the time you're playing. And if you like start making all this stuff, then you're stuck playing Wild. They don't want new players who... Like, all this stuff seems obvious to us, but new players don't know any of this stuff. What's Wild? What's Standard? Don't know. You go, don't worry about it, mate. Just play Standard. You go, what about that card? Don't worry about that card. You don't need that card. Play Standard. That card, make them go look for it, because the point that they're going looking for it is the point that they've found out about it and are interested. Just don't let them get confused straight away, because it'll put them off the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, also they'll get crushed even more if they go into Wild.
Yeah, if you accidentally go into Wild with your standard only cards, because you didn't know where it was, well, you're going to get done by the Dr. Boom and go, oh, why can't I have him? And then you go craft Dr. Boom, and then you go try and play standard, and it doesn't work. You go, I don't understand.
And then you get angry, throw all of your toys out of the pram, and never play Hearthstone ever again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a safety measure, and I think it's a good one.
Fair enough. Okay, this week's Brawl is once again the Web Spinner Brawl. I played a game, I got a pack. It had an epic...
You are more hardcore than me, because I don't bother.
It had an epic and a rare in it. Hurrah!
I should have done it just in case. Or do we still get good gold rates on the nerfed cards?
Possibly, I haven't checked.
I should have done it just in case I got one.
Well, you still can. Oh no, wait. Yeah, you still can. What am I talking about? The Brawl's only just started. You've got the whole weekend. What do you mean you should have done it?
I think it's a week. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to do it now.
Yes, you can still get full disenchant price for the cards that have been nerfed.
Oh, I'll do it fine.
Get an Ancient of Lore.
Yeah, Ancient of Lore. You could get a big Game Hunter. You could get all of that epic goodness. You could even get a golden one, and you could have enough to craft a legendary from one tiny little Brawl. Could be all good. Could be everything you ever dreamed of. I mean, I got lucky. I went into a game and my opponent left halfway through, so I didn't even have to try that hard. It was fine.
Okay, this is what it should be. When you play Brawl, if you're on the coin, you concede. Everyone gets their pack. Everyone gets to go home.
Some people enjoy Brawl, and like I do.
Don't talk crazy talk. All right, fine.
And there have been some Brawls that I've enjoyed as well. But
okay.
the web spinner one,
there's going to be some people that want to play, who actually want to play, and if you make it to turn 1, then you found 2 of them, so that's fine, and then you play the game.
So they just have to keep queuing into people that concede until they find that one person that actually wants to play.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Okay, I think we might need to look up the definition of reasonable. It doesn't sound right to me.
Does not compute.
Okay, so surprisingly, the weekly Brawl did not offer us much conversation, but that was to be expected, because the Web Spinner one has been done multiple times now. Let's get into these new decks. This is the exciting stuff. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what the expansion has brought. Joe, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about your dual god rogue deck, Nzoth Yogg. What are some of the key cards?
Well, first of all, like I tried a bunch of different rogues because I wanted to finish my golden rogue. I had I can't remember, 40 wins left or something, 30 or 40 wins left. So that's why I pretty much went straight into rogue when the expansion came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was messing around kind of standard miracle rogue and Malagos rogue and things like that. But I ended up just making this deck, which is kind of based on the miracle thing with Gadget Zan and quite a few spells, but then has Yogg-Saron, because obviously he works well with all the spells that you have in the deck, and Enzoth. And I haven't actually played the full Deathrattle Rogue. Like, the only Deathrattles in this deck are the 2-mana Undercity Huckster, which is the one that gives you a random class card when it dies.
2-mana TC. Yeah.
Tomb Pillager. But one of the new spells, Journey Below, is a discover for 1 mana, and you discover a random Deathrattle. So that's another, 2 Deathrattle minions you end up getting.
All right, of course. And you've got Zeril in there as well. He's got a battle cry and a Deathrattle, right?
And I have Zeril.
Is he the one that gives the poison cards?
Yeah.
And the poison cards, they're 1 mana, and you've got deal 2 damage, Shadow Step, Stealth, and draw a card. So they're pretty decent. And like you said, you get 2 of them off him. Journey Below, the 1 mana card is the card that has kind of surprised me the most in this deck. First of all, it cycles with Gadget Zan. It's another spell for Yogg. It's a Deathrattle for Enzoth. And the really cool thing is, because it's a discover and it gets your, most of the time you'll have class cards in there. If you're playing against a warrior or something, you often get things like a Nubarak, which I've played, the last 2 warrior games I got a Nubarak and was insta-pick, drop him on the board, he kills it, I play it again, kills it, play it again, and then you just play Enzoth, and you've got Enzoth down, and 3 Anubaraks, and the 4/4s that he left behind, which is
wow, it sounds
totally awesome.
It sounds like a cool deck. It sounds like you kind of get to discover Deathrattle minions to suit the matchup, and then after they struggle to deal with them, because obviously you're going to take Deathrattle ones that is going to be incredibly good against whoever you're playing against, and then you just play Enzoth a little bit later on, and you're guaranteed to bring those ones back because you're playing so few Deathrattle minions in general.
Yeah, and you get more Undercity Hucksters from it as well. So if you're using it near the start of the game, turn 1, let's say you didn't actually draw any of your Undercity Hucksters, but you drew Journey Below, you've got a high chance to get an Undercity Huckster, and then you can play that on turn 2. And that means, having even more of those in your deck is more, not card draw, but it's, obviously you're getting a card from a random class. But it just means that you don't really run out of cards quickly in this deck.
It almost sounds like Grinder Rogue, from the way you're describing it.
Yeah, it kind of is, really. And it's just, like I said, I haven't tried the Deathrattle Rogue, but, even just dropping down Enzoth and getting 2 Tomb Pillagers and another 2 Undercity Hucksters from him pretty much, wins the game at that point.
Oh, really? Just all those extra mana and all that kind of good stuff.
Shadow Strike has been really good as well. That's the 3 mana deal 5 damage to a undamaged minion. The mega backstab. I think it's 2 of those in every single rogue deck from now on. Especially since there's no Blade Flurry. You need as much just low mana cost removal as you can get.
How is it? Because Rogue has basically just lost their board clear. Because just Blade Flurry seems to be unplayable for them. Pretty much. I've not seen anybody playing Blade Flurry. So,
you pretty much... it is huge missing Blade Flurry, but you've still got a lot of removal. You've still got Backstabs and Abyss, and now Shadow Strike, and you've got SI7 Agent, and you've got your weapon. And then once you get mid-game, you just sap things, and then get enough stuff on the board that after you've sapped and they replay it, then you can just kill it. So it's a little bit difficult against... Zoo, and really horrible against Shaman, I guess. I teched in 2 Dark Iron Skulkers instead of double Fan, just purely because of Zoo. They've worked out pretty well, but I'm still testing them at the moment.
Oh,
but
okay, so instead of Fan and
they
Eyes.
wreck Zoo, because they're 5 mana, deal 2 damage to all undamaged enemy minions. Yeah, and they're still kind of handy just to do an extra 2 damage to stuff as well.
It's got a 4/3 body on it as well, right? Dark Iron Skulker, 4/3 body too. Yeah, it must be really good against Zoo, because Zoo plays so many like low health minions, like so much.
What's the body on the Cell of the Poison Mind?
3/2.
He's 3/2. Yeah. So he's not really very good against aggro decks either.
Is he a good card in there? Are you liking him there, or is he working?
I do like him. He's not super strong, but he gives 2 more spells to cycle with Gadget. Spells are pretty much always decent. Like, you'll often get Stealth, so you can cast Stealth on your Auctioneer.
Yeah, they were good, the spells, I remember when I saw them.
Yeah,
It's more,
and the 2 damages.
Because they have to be, because that's the payoff for playing a 3/2 for 4 mana. The spells.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just...
I suppose, yeah.
You also often get them from Journey Below as well, and then you're like, well, it's great that you're getting even more of those 1 cards, but playing 2 4-mana 3/2s generally isn't kind of the best game plan, though, in terms of tempo plays, I guess.
So you'd very rarely pull a Zariel out of a Undercity, out of a Journey from Below. Sorry, Journey Below. God.
No, that's what I'm saying. You get them quite often from Journey Below.
Oh, but you'd actually take him if he was there.
Well, it depends on the other options. But yeah, he's often the best option.
Fair enough. It does sound kind of interesting. I might give this a go. I think I've got most of the cards here. I'd have to craft Zariel, which isn't a problem because just the number of legendaries that I need to craft is so small, and I've got so much dust from shredding all of the nerfed cards that it really shouldn't be a problem. I might give this deck a go. It does look kind of fun.
Yeah, Zariel's the only one that I need to craft. I'm thinking about doing it. I'm going to do Max's deck first, though.
My deck first, huh? Is it right?
Just because I've heard a lot about Max's deck.
Have you?
I say Max's deck.
It's not my
the
deck.
That the deck that the good players created, and Max is like, sounds good.
Yeah, it was like day 1 or day 2 of the new season, and I went to competitive Hearthstone Reddit and wanted to build an N'Zoth deck because I was really tired. I've been working really hard on like doing all the hero guides for Overwatch, and I think it was just literally the day after I'd got them all done, and I was like, I am exhausted. I really want to play some Hearthstone, and I was like, really haven't got the brain power to build a deck right now. So I'll just go onto a competitive Hearthstone Reddit and check it out. And I was like, I really want an N'Zoth deck. And the first one I saw, of course, was N'Zoth Paladin, because that seems to be the N'Zoth deck that everybody's playing.
Yeah,
I've been playing
that deck is really good.
And I looked at it, and this. Just keep in mind, this was like literally a couple of days still after the expansion had come out, and there's a crap load of epics in there. Some of the epics of which we weren't sure if we were going to be that good, like for example, Forbidden Healing.
So good.
I know, it is so good. But at the time we weren't sure, and I was like, do I really want to craft a load of epics just to find out that, like, well, this deck seems good now, and then it falls out. It's like, I don't really want to spend all that dust. So I was like, no. I'll look through it and find another N'Zoth deck. I found N'Zoth Priest, for which I pretty much had every single card already and didn't actually have to craft anything. It's got 2 Embrace the Shadows in it, which is the 2-mana spell, which is all of your healing spells or healing abilities, healing effects now deal damage instead. So it's the 2-mana spell. It's only for that turn, but it's like a turn, like having an Organized Soul Priest on the board just for that turn, obviously without the body.
I remember a quite large or long argument we had about this card when we were reviewing it.
Because I was like on board with it. I was like, I think this card is going to be quite useful.
What? You're the what?
Yeah, I remember you doing the other way around. Someone did.
Absolutely the other way around.
Tweet us the episode text. Whoever's got my number, text me the. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were against it.
No, you guys were trying to tell me that it would only work in combo decks.
Yes.
This isn't really a combo deck.
It's comboing with like.
It only works because you
Flash heals,
put in
circling
flash
healing.
heals and stuff like that. You only put them in to combo off with it.
Well, you use them as removal most of the time when you're playing this deck, I'll be honest. Obviously, they're reach as well, but that's it. Yeah, you guys go back and listen to that episode. I promise you guys are like, yeah, it'll be good in a combo deck, but like not in a...
But didn't you say it would never be in any deck ever?
Yeah, you said no deck because you've got Arcanine.
If you play this card, I'm going to go back to work and do a proper job. I'm pretty sure you said that.
No. That never happened. I was looking forward to talking about this deck because I was going to be like, oh, God, you guys were so wrong. This works so well. And like one of the reasons that it does work so well is because now Priest has so many things of healing on it. I mean, obviously they did before, but not all of them were that good. So obviously it's got 2 circles of healing in there. It's got 2 flash heals. And it's also got the 2 corrupted heal bots, which are amazing. You can play them on turn 5 mana, 6/6, Deathrattle, heal your opponent for 8. Which is, a downside for a nice slow deck that you don't really care about. Playing a 6/6 on turn 5 is so good. But it's also got the upside that if you've got it on board and you make a trade that's going to kill it, if you've got Embrace the Shadows up, you're going to do 8 damage to them instead. And then awesome. There's also the Darkshire Alchemists in there, which is the 5 mana 4/5 battle cry heal for 5. So targeted it on whatever you want. And so it's got to the point where like the Orkney Priest on its own is not enough. You've got so many good abilities in there that you could use to deal damage that actually you do need to have 2 more things.
Yeah, you really need to combo them off.
No, combo deck implies a deck where you draw a load of cards and then do a big combo that wins you the game. Don't you try and back out of this crap now.
Yeah, you put double heal bot on the board and then you save your 2 flash heals and
and then you Embrace the Shadows, boom, win the game.
And then you hope that they've got 12 damage on board to kill your 2 heal bots. So
you only need one of them to die.
No, you double circle of healing.
Double circle of healing. Holy crap, how many cards are in this combo?
Well, quite a lot. That's why it's a combo deck, man.
It's absolutely huge.
Had the word death, you own heal bot at a push as well.
And then it's got a few other like Deathrattle minions in there. It's also got Justicar Trueheart in there because buffing your hero power up to 4 is good for control-y things, but it's also good when you get to do damage with your hero power.
You get to combo it with...
Yeah, I mean, I found this deck is stupidly strong against Cthulhu Druid. I think I've played a couple of games against Enzoth Paladin and I've won both of them, but I'm not sure if I should have done. Priest is traditionally quite good against Paladin because Entomb just deals with their like massive minions. So, if you're playing against Paladin, you save an Entomb for their Tyrion, and that way their Tyrion's not going to get rezzed by Enzoth, and the Tyrion's now in your deck, and you're playing an Enzoth deck, and you're all very happy about that. However, like Enzoth Paladin seems to have a lot more reliable board controls. Like, obviously, this has got 2 ways of making your healing do damage and 2 circle of healings, but that gives you 2. Whereas, like, I'm pretty sure that Enzoth Paladin deck has got, like, double Equality, double Pyromancer, and double Consecrate in there as well. So that's a lot of good board damage. This is only running 1 Holy Nova. I mean, maybe it's similar.
You know what? When I look at this deck, what actually stands out to me as being the weirdest card in it,
what's that?
Almost, is Enzoth. I know he's very good. It's just weird that there's not more. When I think about that Paladin deck and think about like some of the extra cool Death Rattles, the Shifting Shade's kind of good. Loot Hoarder, you don't massively care about.
No, you don't. You don't want to bring back a Loot Hoarder.
You got Shifting Shades and the.
Yeah, the corrupted heal bot. You want the corrupted heal bots. You want the Sylvanas.
The Sylvanas.
Well, that's enough. Like,
it is enough, but there's still 5. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like I kind of expected a couple of more in there. That's all.
Well, you don't want too many because you want to make sure you're bringing back. Because when you drop Enzoth, it's going to fill up your board with minions, and you want to make sure they're all nice big threats. In fact, if you ask me, the 2 cards that are weird in here are the Loot Hoarders. It's almost like you don't really want them, but you kind of want to cycle. This isn't a fatigue deck.
You know why? Actually, they make sense because if you play them on turn 2 and they get you a few extra cards, gets you to your Enzoth, and then it brings them back because you need them to cycle through your decks as a combo deck.
God. But the thing is, like, this has no early game. Your early game with this deck is Embrace the Shadows. And maybe your Orkney Soul Priest. Like, you get through the early game by removing stuff with healing. You've got 1 Shadow Word Pain in there. You've got 1 Holy Nova. And then you've got the Loot Hoarders. So I think without the Loot Hoarders, you'd really, really struggle. I have not played a single game against an aggro deck, so I can't tell you how it does against aggro. It seems to do very well against the control-y decks. It does really well against Cthulhu decks. because it's just got a ridiculous amount of healing, and it kind of gets to the point where they'll play their massive Cthulhu on board, and as long as you've kept yourself fairly healthy, after they play it, you just entomb it, and you've then got their Cthulhu, and their sort of massive play's been done, and you've got all these good, strong minions like Corrupted Healbot.
Does it keep the stats?
No. I've drawn it after entombing it because it's now your Cthulhu and not their Cthulhu. If they have a mechanic that brings it back from the dead, I think it does bring it back to them, and it does have their stats that they retained on it.
Right.
Well, the stats are completely separate to Cthulhu, because even if you don't play Cthulhu in your deck, you still get the buffs to Cthulhu, and you can play Twin Emperors, for example.
Oh, can you? I didn't know you could do that without him in the deck.
Whoa, I did not know that. So I don't have to have a Cthulhu. I can buff a Cthulhu wherever he is, i.e. my collection.
Yeah.
and when I get a 10-10, I can still play Twin Emperors. So you can play that card. Oh, wow. I suppose at that point you're going to play the Cthulhu.
You might as well put him in, though.
But yeah, but that's really interesting.
Yeah,
What'd be cool is if that other card that brought him back from wherever brought him out of your collection and put him into your deck.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
You wouldn't have to put him in your deck then. That would be insane.
You'd never put him in your deck if that's the case. They had some cards in Magic like a long time ago. Like I've heard about these. I couldn't tell you like a long time ago, where some of them they're really wacky cards they created at the beginning before they thought about any kind of competitive or like that scene, something like that. We said you could
draw your own card.
No. It was like draw any card from in the game. So basically you could choose any card in the game. And what they had to do is basically change it to that means any card in your sideboard and in your deck. So you could get it from your sideboard, but like not for, which is the extra 12 cards that you haven't chosen for this round to play. Because it can get a bit dicey if you just like pull random cards out of anywhere. Even if they were named cards, it's still like, well, that's just an extra card in your deck for free. It'd be the most insane card ever.
Yeah, it's true. I guess in Magic, like that's a way of putting more cards in your deck without actually having to put more cards in your deck. It's like you always say, like you never actually, like the deck limit for a standard thing is 60 cards, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, 60.
Like having more is a bad.
There's some people, there's always talk, there's like when really good players have a 61 card deck. And like everyone's like, it's like, what are they doing? They're crazy. And there's always like, have you ever played a 61 card deck and there's always that dirty secret? It's like, yeah, I did once. I just couldn't work out what to cut. Like I just played 61, and like some people will argue it was better, but like it is never ever better to play a 61 card deck in general, or in Hearthstone. It would never ever be better to play a 31 card deck. A 30 card deck is always better. The problem is just sometimes it's too hard to work out what the weakest card is.
Unless there's a lot of fatigue being played. Then 31 cards might be good.
Yeah. I mean, there are some really odd cases. Like the rule, I think, with Magic is that you can have any number of cards you want. You have to have at least 60, but you can have any number of cards you want as
so
long
you can
as
just turn up to a tournament with this like 600 card deck.
as long as you are able to hand shuffle them. It can be a bit like, so it's kind of limited by how big your hands are. The bigger that your hands are. There has to be hand shuffleable.
And you can only have 4 of each kind of card apart from mana.
Yes, you're limited to 4 of each type of card, but you can have as many numbers you want. Like you're 2 in Hearthstone, you're limited 4 in Magic. But there's been some really weird ones that I couldn't even tell you how they work. I remember hearing about them, like ones which were like 250 cards, but they're always like some really weird combo deck kind of thing where it's just going to... Like, they just draw the 2 cards they need, and like all these other ones are just the fuel to make it go off, and you just win the game instantly, kind of thing. And everything else is pretty much draw. It's just like draw, like 1 mana, draw. Got them both, I win. Like that kind of thing.
You keep saying 1 mana, draw a card. That's a good card. Always saying that. All right. After being derailed massively by Magic, I think we're done talking about Inzoth Priest. The deck list for this will, of course, be on the show notes along with all the other decks we're talking about tonight. I will make sure they are all up there tonight when we upload the podcast, so you'll be able to straight away go to their cynicalnerds.com/unstable portal and see the deck lists. Now, Martin couldn't decide what to cut himself, and so he's brought 2 decks tonight. Why don't you tell us a little bit about whichever one you want to talk about first? Go on, Martin. I'll let you decide.
Before I forget, Max, for next week, can you get a little soundbite of "It's a Kind of Magic" by Queen, just so we can do that whenever we get derailed by magic?
All right, I will sort that out for you. I promise. Anyway,
So I have been playing, like I said, I've been playing lots of decks this week, and I would mainly like to talk about new zoo, or the zoo deck that is currently one of the most popular. A lot of the stuff is obviously very familiar. Knife Juggler remains despite of everything, and Imp Gang Boss, and Defender Argus, Sea Giant, all the normal kind of strong zooey minions, everything you come to expect. But a new zoo is kind of characterized by one minion, which is the Darkshire Councilman, which is the 3 mana 1/5. Whenever you summon a minion, it gains +1 attack. This works incredibly well with a couple of the new cards that come in, being Forbidden Ritual, which is the ritual card for the Warlock players. The 0 mana consume the rest of your mana crystals, and it creates a 1/1 for each mana crystal consumed. This means that you could play, say, on turn 6, a Darkshire Councilman, and then the Forbidden Ritual, and you'll get 3 1/1s, and you would have a 4/5. And it just gets better than that. The problem is, having the 5 health, and you can put him down turn 3, is you put him down there, and okay, he's not going to trade with anything, but they quite often don't have anything to kill, because you are a zoo, you got out ahead of them, you traded all your minions off, you're the one with the tempo lead. You put this 1 mana 5, 3 mana 1/5 down, and then you've got Argent Squires and Flame Imps and Void Callers and all these small minions that you just drop down, and suddenly it's a 5/5, and it just clears off everything it had, and it can just grow and grow and grow and get out of control. Obviously, Forbidden Ritual also has wonderful synergy with Knife Juggler, which obviously is still very good despite the fact that it's a 2/2. Yeah, and it's just a lot of fun. Possessed Villager, another one, the 1 mana 1/1.
summon a
That
1/1.
when it dies, spawns another 1 mana 1/1. Works very well in the same way with Knife Juggler and Darkshire Councilman.
Yeah, I mean, Darkshire Councilman seems just a ridiculous card.
So good.
I mean, like, you drop it on turn 3, like you say, it's a 1/5. They're unlikely going to be able to kill it, and then next turn you get to buff it up just by playing minions. Like, it's
Basically, you buff it up, you put
so
it down,
good.
and on turn 4, it's turned into a Yeti with charge because it can now attack. And you're like, oh my god, they just played a Yeti with charge. That's pretty good. And then the next turn you go, oh bloody hell, it's even bigger. I still can't deal with it. This isn't fair. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. There's the other interesting card that is slightly out of the screenshot I gave you. Go make this deck and put Leroy in it instead of Reckless Rocketeer.
Okay, yeah.
I was wondering, I was like, there must be some very specific reason there's Reckless Rocketeer.
Yeah, it's going to have Leroy and I still wanted the burst.
I was running it through my head. I was like, I'm not going to say anything because there's probably a reason.
And I really didn't. I was thinking, do I play that or do I play two cards, Charge Man,
or whatever.
Doomguard.
Oh, Doomguard. I suppose, but if
But
you
I
want
was
it for
kind
the
of, like,
burst,
toying.
this is. I mean, Doomguard is 1 mana less, obviously, but you're never going to be. I suppose the 1 mana less is a big deal, but you don't want the Doomguard because the Doomguard doesn't combo with the Power Overwhelming so well if you've got an empty board. Like you really
exactly.
want the Leroy. You really want Leroy if you can get it.
I
but
put
yeah.
Reckless Rocketeer in there because, like, I'm a sad man. See, this is what you need to be careful of, boys and girls. All of you who are sitting there disenchanting all those cards at the minute going, disenchanting, getting full mana, full dust value for them. Yeah, I did that with Leroy when they nerfed Leroy, and I'm still regretting it. I want my Leroy back, and it doesn't matter how many times I go, yeah, well, you get the full... Yeah, but I spent that dust. That dust is gone.
Yeah, but you
I
spent
spent it
it
on some other toy.
At least you didn't put Arcane Golem in them instead.
Yeah. The other interesting card in this deck is the Spawn of Unzoth, which is the 3 mana 2/2. Deathrattle, when it dies, give all your other minions 1/1. If you can put that down on a safe board, especially if you've got a couple of taunts up from Defender of Argus or even the Void Callers, where you kind of think it's going to stick, it kind of puts them in a position where they have to deal with that with a spell. You know, if they have to dart bomb it at that, if you've got the taunts up where they can't just attack it to get rid of it. And even if they can attack it to get rid of it, that's not very useful because then it gives everything to everything else. So then they have to work out how am I going to destroy everything. It essentially needs an AoE. So if you... I played a game today where I felt out a few times. It's like, wow, he obviously doesn't have Consecrate because he would have consecrated that board. I'm perfectly safe to put this card down because he's no way he can clear all my minions and it's going to get value, and unless he has a Consecrate, which he has to top deck. And it can be very strong, but it has to be very situationally played. You have to look at what's there and what's about. But it works well as well with Possessed Villager and Argent Squire, things like that. Things that will themselves still survive through the AoE and get buffed.
You can throw Defender of Argus on him as well.
Yeah.
He's like
well, it depends what AoE you're looking at, but yes.
He's like a raid leader that's good. 3 mana 2/2 that buffs your minions.
You have more control. That's what he's +1/+1, and you have more control. You just run him into something. A number of times I've just had him there and run him into something to win the game. Essentially.
Oh really?
Good fun guy.
Fair enough.
New Zoo, very strong. Like it. Zoo will be there forever.
Yeah, I was going to say, New Zoo is very strong. It's like, has Zoo ever not been strong? Actually, I remember there was a brief period near the start of GVG, I think, when Zoo was not strong.
Is that when Mech Mage is strong instead, basically?
Yeah, when Mech Mage was strong instead. And Mech Mage was the
surprising card for me was the Forbidden Ritual. Like, playing against this deck quite a lot. Forbidden Ritual just sounds like such a kind of unassuming card. It's like, oh, they're just going to throw down a few 1/1s. But, like, you've spent so much effort getting rid of all the Zoo minions, and then when they cast it, even without Knife Juggler...
Mm-hmm.
And they just fill up their board, and you're just like, oh god.
Getting rid of a load of 1/1s is so obnoxious.
Because you know they're gonna like Defender of Argus, or they're gonna Abusive Sergeant 1, or they're gonna Power Overwhelming it, or like
you've got to get rid of it.
Why do they get so much value?
And you've used all your AoE, you've used everything up, you've got nothing left. Damn it!
I had someone use the Paladin one, the one that made 5 1/1s against me, and it was obnoxious as well. Like they just had some ridiculous like buff the dude kind of deck. It was so annoying.
Buff the dude deck. I can imagine. Well, actually, that card's really good if you've got the new Paladin card. Is it a 3 mana 3/1, and it gives all of your minions with 1 health with Divine Shield.
3 mana 3/3, isn't it?
It's 3 mana 3/3. Sorry,
I don't want to go into this too much because I only read about it and I didn't watch it, but I really wish I had watched it. But Renounce is apparently playing. There was a tournament that was going on, I think, last weekend, which was a wild tournament. And he was playing some kind of druid paladin deck with that card, which gives the minions with 1 health Divine Shield, but it's also had Hobgoblin in it. I told you about this.
Yeah, you told me.
And he was playing all of the wisps and all of the what they call tiny fins and everything like that, like just Divine Shields and Hobgoblins flying all over the place.
I watched that game actually. He played like I think 2 wisps and 2 tiny fins or something. Like he mulliganed and kept them in his hand. And he had Divine Favor. So he emptied his hand and then was able to cast Divine Favor on turn 3 to refill again. I was like, his opponent was just like, what the?
Divine Favor, balanced card. Really balanced
Everybody
card.
in the crowd was going crazy as well.
Does a Hearthstone crowd go crazy? Do they go nuts? They start screaming, taking their shirts off, streaking across the...
Throwing their underwear.
Streaking across the camera, I bet. All right, Martin, why don't you tell us a little bit about the other deck that you brought for show and tell today?
I don't know. I was thinking about maybe we should just talk about this next week. Maybe we should all go away and get more ingratiated with it, and we'll talk about it more next week.
Okay, all right. Well, Cthulhu Druid is coming next week, boys and girls. You heard it here first. You'll hear it next week second. I'm guessing this is Martin's subtle way of telling me that he's very tired and wants to go to bed. We are recording a little bit late this evening. Sadly, we got started a little bit late. So I guess...
I want to go to bed, but We're just blowing our load in the first show. It's like, let's talk about all the decks. What are we going to do next week? Oh, I think about it now.
There's loads of decks still to talk about. What you worried about?
I just want to say one thing with Cthulhu, because I'm not going to forget next week.
Go on.
I was watching Reynad playing a rogue deck, and he had a really cool idea where he had Cthulhu in his deck, and his only buff minion in the whole deck was Blade of Cthulhu, which is the rogue 9 mana 4/4 that destroys a minion and adds its attack and health.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's the minion that it destroyed to Cthulhu. Like, Cthulhu and only that card. But it was really good. Yeah.
It works
He was
really
doing
That's
well
not
with
a bad idea.
Well, it's kind of like that hunter one, the Yogg and Load, or that you were talking about before. Just two minions. 2 minions that just do everything that you need. Done. Happy. Well, one minion that does everything that you need, and 1 minion to draw that minion. 1 minion to bind them. And anyway.
Don't try it. Don't try it. Just stop there. I am throwing you the life jacket of not going down that road.
Good, because my knowledge of Lord of the Rings is far too weak to even have continued with that attempt at humour. But I believe that means that we have now come to the end of the show. I would like to thank especially all of you lovely people over at the Patreon that donate your hard money to us to help us improve the show. I hope you are especially enjoying the amazing sounds of Joe's actual voice, because you people are responsible for it.
I don't care if you lot aren't. I am. My ears are so grateful.
I can't believe you guys put up with that for so long.
Yeah, I can't believe the number of people that listen to it every single week, despite that noise. I mean,
I know, that's what amazes me as well. Do you know, like, the viewing figures have like doubled in the last week just because they're like, oh my god, Joe, I'm coming back. I've got a new mic.
He's got a mic. He's got a new mic. It's all good. Yeah, so thank you so much to you guys. Once that microphone is fully paid off, I'm still owed quite a bit of money for it, but once that microphone is fully paid off, we'll start looking at other things to improve. As we are heading our way out of Overwatch beta period, and the game will be coming out soon, I will actually have far more time to start putting back into the podcast, so we'll get back to probably get back to having the lore, and obviously continue to improve that structure for you guys.
Overwatch, I was looking forward to it coming out, now it's ruined it. You've tainted everything about Overwatch launch for me. Thanks.
Yay. Right, if anybody else out there is feeling generous enough to give us their hard-earned money to help us improve the show, then it is of course welcome. You can join the Patreons at patreon.com/unstableportal. You can get all the show notes, as I've already said a couple of times tonight, at cynicalnerds.com/unstableportal. I will have all the deck lists up there that we have been talking about tonight. You'll be able to get every single one of them so you can play what we've been playing. If you want to send us an email, please do. We did have a crazy game story to read out tonight, but we just didn't have time to get it into the show notes. But we will probably read that out next week. So don't worry if you wrote that in and you haven't heard about it, it will be coming. Anyway, email us unstableportalshow@gmail.com. Or follow us on Twitter. I am at ToastyFutile, Martin is at DustusWins, and Joe is at Marsh_Joe. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/c/cynicalnerds. And I believe I've stumbled over my words for far too long, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Martin, you know that ability that you have to minimize things on my computer? Can you somehow connect that to my brain and have a button that just makes me stop talking?
I do. It's called me talking over you, but you always then complain at me.
Well, you never do it at a good moment. I was waffling something stupid at the end there.
But I almost did at the end. I was going to jump in, but then I thought, no, because he'll whinge at me. and then if I did that, he'll go, I was about to say that if you hadn't interrupted me. I go, oh my god, it's like talking to a woman, fuck me.